The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fab. This episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast is dedicated to adaptability. The title of this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab is The Environment and Your Skin. It's been said that the environment affects your skin. We all know this to be true. However, do we need a special skincare routine or specific skincare products other than sunscreen to help reduce the effects of the environment on your skin? Initially, I didn't think so. I didn't want to add more products to my already overflowing, over-the-top beauty cabinet. A recent experience led me to reconsider this question. If you are an avid and enthusiastic listener of the Forever Fab podcast, you are certainly familiar with my FAB Five rules of beauty and wellness, which are, by extension, also the foundations of living a beautiful life. In case you need a reminder, the FAB Five are: number one, good nutrition. It's the first rule of beauty. The second rule of beauty is that of adequate daily hydration. The third FAB Five rule of beauty and wellness is consistent, restful sleep. Number four, frequent and effective stress management. Number five, mind, brain, and soul nourishment and protection with social support, purpose-driven living, and daily learning. When speaking about the environment, its changes, and the effects that these changes may have on skin, there are numerous factors at play. Firstly, I mentioned the FAB Five rules of beauty and wellness. If any of these factors is off or completely missing, whether it's lack of hydration, lack of restful sleep, or unmanaged stress, your skin will reflect that deficiency in your internal environment. Recently, I had traveled to 3 different countries, all within 2 weeks. I did keep up with my beauty routine for the most part. But being in different time zones caused me to skip my routine a few times. And also, not only that, but the extensive travel reduced my intake of water. I noticed that my skin, after a few days of this, was dry and irritated and just didn't have that glow that I love to have. I don't think that this was a result of the external environment necessarily, because I visited places that didn't have excessive pollution, but I really think it was more, the results of my skin that I was seeing was more a result of my internal environment and how I had pretty much mismanaged it. Now, other environmental factors that can adversely affect skin are multiple, and they include ultraviolet or UV radiation. And we all know that UVA and UVB rays from prolonged unprotected sun exposure can cause not only sunburn, but also premature aging and, over time, in the long run, skin cancer. Another environmental factor that can negatively affect skin is air pollution. That can cause inflammation, irritation, and oxidative stress of the skin. And that oxidative stress may manifest as premature aging, an increased number of fine lines and wrinkles, irregular texture, loss of elasticity, dyspigmentation or discoloration, such as age spots and uneven skin tone. Climate change is another factor. Listen, Whether you believe in it or not, extreme temperatures and dramatic changes in weather can cause skin dryness and irritation. Smoking. We all know the negative effects of smoking in the body and on the skin. But did you know that even if you don't smoke, you may also experience abnormalities in your skin from smoke in the environment? An AI overview on the web states that, quote, secondhand smoke causes premature skin aging, wrinkles, and sagging by destroying collagen and elastin. It also leads to poor wound healing, increases the risk of skin conditions like psoriasis and eczema, and can contribute to skin cancer and discoloration. The chemicals in secondhand smoke trigger inflammation, oxidative stress, and alter skin barrier lipids, negatively impacting skin health and appearance, end quote. Wow. Heavy metals are another factor, and according to the web, quote, exposure to heavy metals like mercury and lead can accumulate in the skin, causing irritation, discoloration, and allergic reactions, end quote. And this is problematic for me because I love sushi. I eat a lot of sushi. So you can imagine what my mercury levels are. And I'm wondering, as I'm aging, if my mercury levels are also contributing to the appearance of my skin. Quite possible. Another environmental factor that affects skin, pollution from vehicles. Quote, exhaust fumes contain harmful substances that can damage the skin and contribute to premature aging, end quote. Many of these factors are seemingly unavoidable. Must we all live out in the country to have radiant skin? Well, here's what you can do to improve your air quality, reduce environmental adverse effects on skin, and ameliorate your ability to expose your skin to a relatively cleaner environment. Another AI overview on the web suggests strategies to improve indoor air quality, such as, quote, ventilation. Open windows and doors regularly, especially when outdoor air quality is good. Use fans to circulate air and remove pollutants. Ensure proper functioning of exhaust fans in kitchens and bathrooms. Air filtration. Change furnace and air conditioner filters regularly. Use HEPA air filters to remove fine particles and allergens. In order to reduce sources of pollutions and avoid smoking indoors, limit the use of scented candles, air fresheners, and incense. Minimize the use of harsh chemical cleaning agents. Store paints, solvents, and other volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, properly. And these are just ways to avoid smoke indoors, and obviously, clearly, avoid smoking indoors. Control the humidity. Use a dehumidifier to maintain indoor humidity levels between 30 and 50%. Address water leaks promptly to prevent mold growth. And the mold growth is a serious thing, especially black mold. It's insidious. Sometimes you may not even notice it's there, but you'll just be sick. So it's a real thing. And of course, clean regularly. Vacuum and dust frequently, especially in areas with heavy foot traffic. Wash bedding, curtains, and upholstery regularly. Wipe down surfaces with non-toxic cleaning solutions. I'm a big fan of those. Other measures include using household plants to absorb pollutants, remove shoes when entering the home to reduce dust and dirt. Consider using a whole house air filtration system for more comprehensive purification if you can afford that and if that's, within your budget. There are also specific tips that you can abide by for allergic individuals. Use hypoallergenic bedding and pillows. Encase mattresses and pillows in allergen-proof covers. Invest in an air purifier with a HEPA filter specifically designed for allergies. And you can also consider removing carpets and replacing them with hard flooring, end quote. In addition, to improve indoor air quality, quote, change filters regularly. Replace filters in your HVAC system and air purifiers as recommended if you have HVAC systems in your home. Avoid burning things indoors. Moderate your use of fireplaces, candles, or gas stoves. Also, use low VOC products. Opt for cleaning supplies, paints, and other products with low volatile organic compounds or VOC content. right? That makes sense. Also, reduce clutter. Keep your pets clean if you have pets. Groom your pets regularly and wash their bedding frequently. Now, to improve outdoor air quality, reduce vehicle emissions. Walk, bike, or take public transportation whenever possible. Use energy-efficient appliances. Plant trees, because trees can absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Support clean energy initiatives. Avoid burning wood or trash. Burning these materials actually releases harmful pollutants into the air. And compost, if you have that available. Recycle organic waste through composting, reducing methane emissions from landfills, end quote. So clearly, radiant skin is both an inside and an outside job. So I hope that this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast has armed you with the tools to make the changes you want to see in your skin. This concludes this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay beautiful and forever fabulous inside and out.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.